Funny how you start reviewing your life when you realize you're about to die. With drowning people, it's almost become a cliche. Your life flashing before your eyes and all that. But I've got time. I don't know when they'll come for me, but they'll likely let night fall first. So until then, it's just me and my thoughts. I am Calico Jones. I've been told I'm gorgeous. When I was in college, I earned spare change by modeling diamond jewelry for the De Beers people. And Pierce Brosnan once hit on me in a bar in Monte Carlo. So you can judge that for yourself. I've been told I'm brainy. The college I went to was MIT. My degree is in applied quantum physics. I missed summa cum laude by 1/100th of a point, thanks to an ill-advised dalliance with the wrong TA in my freshman year. I've been told I'm brave, but that's only after I made the biggest anaconda in Wordier cry for its mommy. Only after I shredded the butts of 5 murderous kidnappers just as they were about to chop into beef jerky-sized tidbits the precious heiress I was hired to rescue. And so forth. I don't need anybody to tell you that I shoot straight. My scores are good enough to regularly win gold in the World Combat Pistol Championship Professional Division. Moreover, when it comes to the real thing, I've never missed. Finally, I've been told I'm a good lover. This by the aforementioned heiress, as well as the half-dozen Andean maidens I saved from a grisly sacrificial death in the deepest interior of Chile. Among others, if you must know. I guess they're right. You see, I have this anatomical variation that was considered a birth defect by my doctor who delivered me, but which has turned out to be a pleasant asset. I have a double-jointed tongue. Oh, I can hear you say, but the tongue is not a jointed organ. Let me assure you, mine is. However, I'm not flattered when the Rob Report calls me the best private investigator in the world. What I do is so much more than investigation. I don't put on a trench coat and creep around dark buildings, okay? Although I did do that once, on a bet with Jodie Foster. But that's neither here nor there. I work with private citizens, parliaments, clubs, security firms, intelligence networks, whoever can convince me their crisis of the week is worthwhile. I wish they hadn't tied me up. It's always better when they just lock you in a room. Because if you can't figure a way out, you can at least do push-ups or practice your jujitsu on the furniture. But this gang had heard of me. They'd heard I usually do figure a way out. So they decided not to take any chances. They used steel cable, the kind you lock a motorcycle with, which unfortunately hasn't a bit of give. They tied one loop around my waist, twining it through the belt loops of my cargo pants, and then securing my hands to it. They wrapped my upper arms close to my sides for good measure. They ran the cable down to my ankles where, after removing my field boots, they tied the last knot. They must have used pliers to tighten those knots. They're good ones. By the looks of them, tied by someone with Chinese Navy experience. I'm not going anywhere. The floor is old oak, and I'm lying on my back, in no distress except for being rather cold. It appears I'm in a wine cellar. I guess in the basement of the mansion I visited yesterday. It's up on the Hudson River in New York, 2 miles away from the remote control facility for the satellite shot that's scheduled tomorrow morning in the Coral Sea. All I've got on is my lycra t-shirt, my cargo pants, and wool socks. The air is heavy and pleasantly musty, with that fruity old fermentation smell that happens in every wine cellar, especially when someone has dropped a bottle. The wine soaks into the floor and stays there even after it's mopped away. The house is dead quiet. When I shift my body, I hear the rustle of my clothes. I hear my breath going in and out, in and out. Fortunately, I don't have to go to the bathroom. I managed never to soil myself in a situation like this. My period's not due till next week. Thank God for small favors, right? How do I know I'm going to die? Because the junior thug who carried me in here clumsily knocked my blindfold off as he set me down. Shit, he muttered. I blinked and looked around and saw 3 faces quite clearly. 3 greedy, wrong-headed, aggressive, criminal mastermind faces. You imbecile, I said, knowing full well they couldn't let me live once I'd seen them. Junior picked up the blindfold, but one of the others said, "Don't bother." They all sighed, and the one who just spoken said, "We've got to go. They're waiting. You'll have to come back later and take care of this." "But," said Junior, "I said let's go." They left the lights on, which I appreciate. There's some good wines in here. I mean, world-class connoisseur vintages. On a rack to my right, I can see, for example, a 1998 Petrus Pomerol and a Montrachet 1978 from Romanée-Conti, next to a 1945 Mouton. I've never had an opportunity to drink that particular Mouton, but I've wanted to, very much. Too bad. Well, I've had a hell of a ride. I really can't complain. I put away murderers and molesters, kidnappers and terrorists, even toppled the odd dictator here and there. I've been well compensated too. For instance, I could buy any bottle of wine in the world and drink it with popcorn while watching cartoons on TV if I wanted to. Not that I actually would. I'm generally respectful of fine wine. That bottle of Mouton over there, the only reason I haven't tasted it is that you can't order a case from your favorite store. You have to get lucky at an auction, and I just haven't had the time. As I say, I've had a good ride, but I do have one regret. It's only one, but it's big, and it's this. I've never settled down with just one woman. Never built a life on equal terms with someone special. Never met that quiet, plain, loving woman who would steal my heart and give me hers in return. It isn't as if I've never loved. I've been in love, and had a blast. There was that one special heiress, of course. She was a dream. Oh, was she a babe. That copper fire hair of hers, those simmering eyes, that firm young butt, so toned and perfect and ample. The sex was delicious. And the exotic places we did it, one of her private islands had a 23-mile perimeter of sugar beaches, which just promote good sex, you know. Our relationship was great, except a month after we got together, she fell to her death on El Capitan while trying to impress me with how well she could free climb. Her last word was a scream, "Calico!" I can hear it still. I wish I hadn't demonstrated my own climbing skills. It must have inspired a fatally competitive impulse in her. Then there was, aside from the sextet of Chilean lasses, which cannot count as love, but sister, they counted as fun. There was an Antarctic penguin specialist I met while infiltrating the world's largest methamphetamine factory, a hop and a skip away from the International Science Outpost, McMurdo Station. You know the ozone hole everybody was so worried about? Well, as soon as I bust up the meth factory, the hole closed again. Due to the elimination of meth emissions over the South Pole. Not many people know that. The penguin specialist and I had a good time, and I respected her, but she couldn't handle my extremely dangerous lifestyle. She didn't know why I couldn't just chuck everything and help her watch penguins all day. There was the Swedish biologist, and the Fortune 500 CEO, the champion Hawaiian surfer, and the Iranian opera diva. Definitely gave me a run for my money. Yes, I've been in love. But it hasn't been satisfying. For years I've dreamed of someone different. Want to know my dream? She's a little Midwestern girl. Smart and nice and cool. Not all sharp and world-bitten. I'd meet her at a cultural place, like an art museum. Yes, that's it. She's studying one of Louise Nevelson's later works so intently that as she moves to the side for a different view, she bumps into me. Her arm just brushes mine, really, but I lean subtly into her movement to accentuate the contact. I catch a whiff of her cologne. Almond blossoms, a touch of citrus, a hint of spice. Our eyes meet. I smile in amusement. She is plain, as I've said, but not dull. Physically, she verges on the gawky. I guess she's sort of skinny, but with decent breasts and an active manner. She's wearing ordinary jeans and loafers, and her hair is pulled back with a barrette. And it's brown. Good old brown. It can be rich cocoa brown, it can even verge on light golden brown if it has to, but not red. Her hair absolutely cannot be red. I don't even want to see an auburn highlight. Because I've had too many red-headed lovers who spelled disaster eventually. If she has red hair and a well-rounded butt, voluptuous hips, and a stubborn personality, she's trouble for me. That's it. The heiress was an ample-hipped redhead. So was the penguin specialist and the CEO, the diva, all of them, actually. My dream woman is quick to smile back. I see that she's got a face that's, well, serious isn't the right word. Earnest. Maybe the better word is earnest. Yes, she's got an earnest face. An expression that's open and caring, and like she won't let me get away with any bullshit. There's a spark in her eyes that says, I'd like to understand you. She's got on an old favorite sweater. Maybe a red wool sweater, the color of the blanket in Van Gogh's bedroom. Obviously, she's not rich. Her watch is a Timex, and she's carrying a simple leather shoulder bag. Trappings aren't important to her. Substance is. I say, it's one of Nevelson's best, don't you think? Slowly she nods, and we stand side by side regarding the depths of the Nevelson. We find ourselves walking together through one gallery, then another. We talk a little. I find out she's on her own in life, someone who goes her own way. She's perhaps a freelance journalist, not a famous one, just an ordinary writer who finds inspiration in art and music when she's between assignments. She plays an instrument, a charming one like a ukulele or a banjo. Her face is straight out of a Roman frieze. Her lips are perfectly shaped, the lower a little fuller than the upper. Always the sign of a good kisser. And her nose is strong. Her eyes are thoughtful, with smile lines at the corners. Color? It doesn't matter. Maybe they're gray, open and neutral. They evaluate me unhurriedly. She is not eager to be liked. She feels secure in herself. Perhaps she's done rather a lot of work to be mentally and emotionally healthy, and she's not about to lose herself in a chance encounter. Yet she's got an adventurous spirit, because suddenly she says, I could go for a sandwich and a cup of coffee. How about you? We leave the museum and walk through a light drizzle to a cafe. What city are we in? Perhaps Chicago. In early autumn. I discover she likes her coffee black. I learn she lives in a small apartment with some books and a wool rug from Turkey. She's interested in people. She's observant. When she learns what I do for a living, she says, how honorable. She makes me laugh out loud several times, though I can't tell how or why. We talk about ways to keep focused in this insane world, and we agree that achievement and friendship are the keys. A year later, we're living together in a small house in a Midwestern city of her choosing. Chicago or Detroit or Milwaukee. No world capitals. No glitz and glamour. I need a large airport, that's all. I keep working, and sometimes she joins me on my less dangerous missions, but mostly she follows her own interests and writes about the things she finds fascinating. Books, people, and music. She plays her banjo. When we're home together, we cook simple, good food. We don't drink $1,000 bottles of wine. Who needs them, really? Perhaps we drink unusual beers. They taste all the better because we're drinking them together. To hell with wine! We host small parties for our favorite friends. We laugh. We make love and sleep well. Such is a life I would have created with that bookish beauty I never met. I hear footsteps overhead. Someone is coming fast, running down the steps to the cellar. When they come running, it's usually a bad sign, because almost always they come in shooting, panicked, wanting to get it over with. I close my eyes. The door bursts open. I hear someone standing over me, panting. Involuntarily, I look. It's one of the gang, all right. She is carrying a Steyr TMP submachine gun, their signature weapon, probably stolen from an Austrian police depot. But the gun is slung over her shoulder, and she's got a big-ass pair of bolt cutters in her hand. Oh, great. If you think you're going to cut bits off me with that thing before you kill me, I tell her, you won't have any luck. I don't have anything useful to reveal to you. Shut up, she says, smiling. She drops to her knees and begins dissecting the cables that are tying me down. Now this is a welcome turn of events. The bolt cutters gnaw into the tough cable. Krr, krr, crack. She pauses and looks into my eyes. I want you, Calico Jones. The smile plays at her eyes and over her lips. Her voice is low and steady. What? I'm fed up with all of them. They're liars and they're wrong. She's wearing a midnight blue jumpsuit with no insignia. Her hands move like agile cats, working the cables, unthreading the cut ends from between my feet. I'm getting out, and I'm going to need you to stop them. I can't do it alone. You realize the device is timed to detonate the ignition sequence of the World Peace Communications Satellite. The one that will empower oppressed peoples the world over to build coalitions to bring down corrupt governments? Precisely. She's breathing hard, wrestling with the bolt cutters and the steel bonds across my belly. Chick! Her mouth is tight now with concentration. Be careful, I say. Don't flinch. I'm not flinching. She checks her watch. We don't have much time. I know just how to proceed as soon as you get me loose. Where are my boots? In the helicopter, I think. I want to kiss you without ceasing, she murmurs as she works. I'm in love with you. Don't speak. You are so hot, I can't stand it. God, you are hot, Calico Jones. Your muscles ripple like liquid iron. I watched you the whole way here on the helicopter. You didn't see me because you were blindfolded. Right. When we're through saving the satellite, I'm taking you on a slow boat to China. Oh, I've heard about your famous birth defect. She is the best stacked terrorist ever to discover a conscience. Milky skin with a few well-scattered freckles, a good butt, a good, round, thoroughly pleasing butt, and red hair. Cascades of flaming, red, soft, exciting hair. Damn. I am free, standing, rolling my shoulders, trying to remember the helicopter lessons I took from a pair of British commandos 5 years ago in Tunisia. Come on, she pulls my arm. Wait. And I go back and grab that 1945 Newton. What the hell? She smiles, flips her hair in the air. It splits the air with its violent beauty and says, good choice.